All right, good afternoon. This is our last meeting of the curriculum committee of the school year. It is Tuesday, May 27th. You're all in attendance. Karen, if you'd like to get us started.
Great, yes. So today we're going to do a quick update on refusals for state testing. Talk a little bit about the work that our district has been doing in terms of our students with disabilities. And then take some time to look at survey data that Mr. McCree has compiled from our staff. Okay, so the New York State testing program, which everybody, I'm sure at the table knows, is the 3 through 8 ELA, math, and science tests that are given. I started this slide is with the elementary school, and you can see our participation rates for 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. 3rd grade was 99%, which is awesome. Almost at what the state is expecting, which, you know, they have this has to be 95% or higher. And we're almost there with 4th grade. And then it drops a little bit in 5th grade there. So you can see that ELA, based on our numbers right in front of me, is just about, I'm not sure if the state rounds it, just about at that 94.5, almost at the 95%, I should say. But when the state does their accountability, it goes from students continuously enrolled from bed stay through the test date. So I'm not sure if everybody in there is going to be counted, and the math at 93.8. So a little bit of information.
Okay,
there.
just really quick,
Yes.
just so we can preset the reasoning why we
Sure.
have this. We had a board member ask the curriculum committee and ask the board to look into and ask me about what our refusal rate or opt-out rates are, how long it takes for the test to be given, and how long these students sit for where they're not taking the test, and what do they do when they're not taking the test. I think those were the main questions that were asked. So Karen was able to compile some of that information to be able to answer the board member's question and give the board this information for further discussion if warranted. The state, Karen, just so, because maybe not everybody understands that, they expect us to give these exams and they have a participation rate and mark that they want us to hit, correct?
Correct.
That mark is 95%.
95%.
That goes along with some of our like accountability measures, school in good standing.
That we just went through
Yeah,
last month. Yeah.
Exactly. Also for schools like, we're not probably gonna ever have this anymore, but blue ribbon schools, for example, if you were to be a blue ribbon school, national blue ribbon school, you have to hit participation rates. So elementary school hit participation numbers a few years back, they were able to do it. High school hit participation numbers, they're able to do it even though the numbers are good. Middle school wouldn't hit the participation numbers, so they were knocked down to some of those rankings. Because it has to be,
Yeah.
those have to be recommended by the state first for that federal program. So that all kind of just goes in with accountability.
Yeah.
So.
What was the feedback on the test? I mean, from the teachers, like, you know, sometimes there's like.
Yeah, sometimes you hear
bizarre
about this.
question or something.
I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Well, there was less teacher awareness of this because the computer.
It's all
test.
computer, so
So
you're
we
not
don't
really.
have that copy of the test to be able to flip through and look at what the questions are, so it's,
And this was the first year for that, right?
No,
Fully,
no.
well, that it was across the board.
Across
No,
the
last
district,
year was completely CBT too.
Middle school too?
Oh, middle school's been CBT for years.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I was welcome.
Yeah. But yeah, 3rd grade, I think, had their first with both
With
last
both,
year.
right, so this was the first time.
What don't they like about fifth grade math?
Interesting, the kids would get very vocal and will start a test and go home and say to their parents, and then they have no problem coming in and saying, well, I told my mom I didn't want to take it, so she's opting me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Kathy didn't have to take ELA, so can I not do math? Sometimes
Yep.
I
You'll
say
see that trend, I think,
Yes.
especially, I haven't looked at
Especially
And
middle school
because
yet, but
ELA is first,
Yeah,
so
so you
I'm
tend to get a little bit-
not
I mean,
surprised that there was that.
So I will say, oh, if you can go back for one sec.
I actually was asked by a student, a young child. No, it was very funny because they don't understand it. They said, Dad, do you have to pay to opt out? Like, it was very interesting. It was a great question. I go, no, great idea, but no.
That's funny.
No, but it's kids don't understand it either, right? Kids
No.
hear refusals or not. So I think that's a, you know, Kelly's point is, you know, I might go home, I might ask my parent because they saw their friend sit out. The children really don't understand to take it or not take it or how to do it. From that prime example in my own house and that own conversation, it was very interesting. I go, wow, you really don't understand how this works, do you? So I sat down and explained it. Awesome.
And if you could go back one
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
elementary for just 1 sec, I just wanted to mention where it shows, ELA took approximately 2 hours, math took about an hour and a half. That is inclusive of all of that direction time too.
Mm.
So, and Kelly, you've done so many of our makeup, so we appreciate that so much. Kelly, you remember those days. So with the CBT, obviously you have to get your whole class back. They've just had whatever, they're going to the bathroom, they're settling in, then you go through the directions and there is, a good 15 minutes of going through that part as
When we
well.
first moved to computer-based testing, I was very concerned about how labor intensive it would be for the kids for the typing, and it really hasn't been.
Yeah,
So.
thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. you didn't want-
No, it's good. I'm very far removed from it, so it's
Right.
interesting to hear that, Kelly. Thank you.
And we actually used our new art room, I think, for the opt-outs.
Yeah, at the elementary. We've been using that room a lot lately.
Exactly. So you can see these participation rates go down in the middle school. If you take a look at math, 81%, that is 81% because all those students who take the algebra in 8th grade get to count as part of their testing. So even if they had opted out, they're showing as being participants in that. There was questions about number of students with disabilities who are opting out. It took us probably through 3rd period. I sat with some students who needed a little bit longer separately so that we could change classes and move on with our day, but other kids were not going to be rushed. They still had some time. Because as you know, they have as much time as they need as long as they're productively working. And they were also in a test refusal. So what I passed out, just the actual numbers by grade, in case they were interested. You guys were interested.
Any questions on this?
Thank you. Are interested, but
And the other option too is someone asked like, well, what do we have the kids do if they're not taking the test? Are they bored? Yes, they sit in room. Yes, they color. They do other things. They can play games, but also the parents have a choice. They know that the child's not going to be here for a couple periods and they're not taking it. Some parents do keep their kids home for 2 periods and then bring them in afterwards. So I've seen that trend as well. Okay,
yes,
that was a quick one. Good job.
So in the past few years, we've really wanted to look at strengthening the achievement of our students with disabilities. And by that, I mean the social emotional, the achievement for their academics or achievement in becoming more independent. So the district's really invested time the past few years in looking at professional development and some tweaks to the instructional programming. So I just kind of wanted to touch base on that and share some of this. Last month, we looked at I just want to remind everybody, our accountability and the couple things that stood out to us last year, last year, that show up is that subgroup, that cohort of students with disabilities, where you can see at the elementary, it's the amount of growth that they may have made from the year before. We only have 2 grade levels that you can really work with because 3rd grade didn't take the test the year before. So it really limits what you can see, even though our core performance, which is how they performed against other students with disabilities, was at the highest level there. Their actual growth from year to year was in the level 2. And then in middle school, you have that weighted average. The weighted average is the kids who aren't participating being a part of that denominator when we're figuring out what the score is. So that's where it hits us there that Frank had mentioned earlier, and their growth as well. So you can see again, their core performance was still at that proficient level overall, but there was some question. So that's why I kind of wanted to share with you some information. So professional development. First thing that I wanted to talk about was the Orton Gillingham training that we've done. Some of this professional development is for all staff or all teachers, and some is more specific. So the Orton Gillingham is direct, explicit, highly structured approach to teaching literacy. It's multisensory, diagnostic, and it's used for students who are really struggling with reading or have dyslexia. And we had a teacher who's a student with disabilities teacher in the elementary school who's trained in that deeply. Like there are a couple different levels. She got a lot of that PD. And then we had 2 people in the middle school, a special ed teacher and a reading teacher who had that training as well. At the elementary, In the past couple of years, we've had special teachers who are, your art, your phys ed, music, have a chance to work during our grade level meeting time with related service providers, and I think maybe the special ed teachers on modifying curriculum for our special education students for certain needs that have come up. We've offered executive functioning 101. This is something that was actually requested and became very popular. Our speech and language teacher, Ms. Carroll, offered this in November to our secondary staff, and everybody loved it. The feedback was great. We offered it in January to our elementary staff, same thing. Everybody was very excited about it, really liked it. Also offered to our elementary staff was a request for autism spectrum disorder information. So that came out also as well. So, but the bulk of PD that has really come out, and some of this professional development, as I said, is for teachers for working with all students. Because obviously as we strengthen our tier 1 best practices, it benefits everybody, but certainly students in need will benefit from that as well. And we brought in Dr. Kelly Brock, I believe starting in March of 2024. And she did full staff, I think we brought them in faculty meeting wise, didn't we? Isn't that how we did that, Kelly? I believe so. Oh, in March, was it the March superintendent? Maybe you're right. You're
There's
right.
been a consistent
that's how we started.
implementation of Kelly from,
From then through now.
right, with,
So 2.5.
from like wide scale down to
Yes.
more focused.
Exactly. So the following year, she still did a lot of behavior management work and tier 1 practices, things like active learning, flexible grouping, formative assessment, scaffolded instruction, culturally responsive teaching. And as I talked about, the classroom management. And then this year, we had her do some targeted work with small teams. She's also been in classrooms, observing the classroom, giving feedback, doing all that as well to support students and teachers. And this year, we started the year with discussion with IEPs and 504s and that the legal piece of understanding how we have to follow those best. And again, just doing that ongoing targeted work. I'll throw out there that this year we brought in Heidi with a Y in March, and that really connected. I didn't list it up there, but that connected because she did work like language to avoid with power struggles and building relationships and students with self-regulating. So that all kind of tied in, and teachers really seem to like that as well. Departments in the secondary area, they had time to come in the summer. Our department supervisors, our leaders in chair, and analyze the region's data, but specifically analyze it and look at it for the students with disabilities performance. And some different things that came out of that, our English Language Arts department revisited that consultant teacher model and did work. Ms. Jones and Mr. Stonewall worked with both departments, special education and ELA together. They'll be going back to that conversation next year. Science worked on more consistent approach to shared instructional language, promote vocab and strategies, how they're doing things. Obviously, the more consistent we are, the better it is for all of our students. And in social studies, there's actually quite a lot that has been going on because our speech language pathologist, Ms. Carroll, did summer work with our social studies team in the middle school. So she worked with 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade teachers there. They did, I want to write this down. Language support, but embedded into the academic context. So there may have been things like key vocabulary words that support social studies content and broader language skills like tier 2 words that they worked on. So she did a half day with each of those social studies teachers. Our department leader, Mrs. Young, did for our November conference day, continued that work, but expanded it into the high school where they looked at a set 1 of Regents questions that had been done the year before and looked at that writing. And we brought in the speech language teacher to help the social studies teachers talk about how are we going to move forward with stronger cause and effect writing. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. And then some tweaks.
Real quick.
Oh, sure.
Any questions so far?
I know I'm getting along.
Have you gotten feedback, because it's been ongoing, like? People,
For different things, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
mostly
probably not.
positive though.
I
You're
would-
seeing a difference in. how
I would
kids are-
say mostly positive. I think, some of the stuff is still kind of broad and you move the ship slowly,
Right.
right? I mean, it takes time. This is year 3 with the specialized reading class, 3 or 4 with the specialized reading class. It's, we've done some of this, but then we've made tweaks to them. So I think those things are steps that are getting better. And I do have a little data to share.
Anecdotally, I haven't heard major negative issues.
I agree with that.
Kelly, so I would say I'm not hearing negative, and also I'm hearing people say in my thought processes, this is work that we're doing and that we're professionally obligated to do, and we work with our children to the best of our abilities. I'm not hearing people saying, yes, we need this, or no, we don't need it. It's more of, this is what we need to do to
This
help
what we
kids.
do.
So I'm not.
Well, yeah,
hearing okay, Kelly, I don't know if I see.
I think that the work with Kelly Brock, the whole group things have been less, okay, this is how I can turn and use this, but I have seen some instances where she was working with a teacher on a specific student, that some of the really targeted feedback that was given was helpful. Now, if we could have that sort of with every single instance, I think it's
Yeah.
difficult when you're trying to sit in a room with
I agree.
a
In
whole
fact,
so
our
that
PD committee.
that was a harder thing.
Some of the information or some of the feedback that we got on the original Holy Rock large scale PD was, I think if we did this in smaller groups or when we.
Because people
then we
have
would-
specific questions.
Specific questions about a student. and you're not
It's
gonna-
less like, yeah, broad
So that's
spectrum,
why we
this
brought
makes
it in.
sense, but how do you do it in this instance?
I agree.
So.
But if you're looking at the amount of time students are pulled out of classrooms, because every time a special education student is left out of a classroom or taken out of instruction, we're supposed to document that.
Right.
That has went down this year, right? So because if you're taking a child out for a behavioral issue with a special education student, you are to document how much time they miss out of the classroom per New York State regulation. So we're seeing a decrease of students leaving the classroom, grades 6 through 12, which is a positive. That shows
I
that
agree.
the social emotional work that's being done in the school, the tier 1 interventions, the work that Kelly's been
The
doing.
de-escalation
The
pieces of it,
de-escalation
or the-
components
Right.
is working.
Yeah.
We've had students that had major behavioral issues and suspensions in the past. This year, we have not seen as much.
Yeah, that's really where my
yeah.
question,
Yeah.
not so much that teachers like it.
Yeah.
I just want to
What
answer
are we
those. like,
seeing? What are we
You know,
seeing
what are
for
you seeing
changes?
and,
But we
you
are
Yeah,
seeing
those
some
are some of the
small
bigger
changes.
changes we're seeing.
Yeah.
We're seeing writing increases, I think, with the elementary schools, some of their ELA and reading components, scores are going up across the board. Excuse me. So I think you're seeing some more of that. This, as Karen said, though, this isn't something that you can tangibly get your hands on.
Yeah.
It's
I'm gonna show
slow
some
work.
anecdotal and some other stuff
Yeah.
that I.
But if we
was
were to look at
interesting.
from 5 years ago to now, I think you would see
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah,
things
and we've had very different needs in the past from 5 years ago
Mm-hmm.
too. I think
Yeah.
things look different.
with lots of shifts.
Yeah. So we have that specialized reading class in the elementary school. This is the special education teacher who had that Orton Gillingham training, who's doing specialized reading only. That's that is what she's doing in that class. She's doing it, I think grades 1 through 5. Our K1 special class that we have has become more fluid over the past couple of years. So this is Mrs. Terry's classroom. And she'll have students who do English language arts and math in the morning with her. It's 2 hours with her in the morning, but it's become more fluid where as students need less support, they're able to go back into their gen ed classroom. So you might have towards the end of the year, an hour and a half, or, the students who are the first grade students were able to start the year at an hour and a half versus 2 hours. Something like Number Corner where they're having those conversations, it benefits the student to be in the gen ed classroom and they can do that and accomplish it. So it's more fluid that way than it used to be. At the middle school level, the speech work that's being done, as I talked about with social studies, our speech teacher is embedding and pushing right into that classroom versus all the times being, pulling students out for the 30-minute sessions during the month. So that's been a change, which I think has been a benefit. And we're also doing some small group work this year with our counselors and our related service providers in the high school. So this year we had 3 different 9th grade small groups. Not everybody in that is special ed, but it pertains to our special ed population as well. We had, let me see, one organizational for 9th grade and 2 study skills. So they were doing test taking skills. They were doing anxiety for testing, they were determining what kind of learning style they had, and then getting strategies for working on that learning style. So that was successful. In 10th grade, they did, I think, more study skills. In 11th grade, we had 2 after-school groups for college app process. One last thing that I want to talk about is Blackbird Jumpstart, which is something that we do through our title grant, which has started. This will be our 3rd year of it, and it's targeted for students who are at risk in 8th grade, maybe disengaged. Certainly has a couple of our students with disabilities in those groups as well. And it's kind of like a wellness transition between 8th grade into 9th grade. So they spend 3 days in July doing some transition activities and 3 days in August. And I do have some numbers that I'll share with you on that as well, which I think has been successful. Center for Autism Related Disabilities, we had this year work with staff and on students' targeted behavior plan. And that really, really helped in the high school for the student that it really decreased student behavior significantly.
So
Yes.
just really quick, and I haven't looked at your slideshow, so I apologize if it's in here. Karen, sometimes when we think special education, we think special classes, we think all these other things, because that's what we've been talking about. But I also think it's extremely important to talk about special education is meant for, an IEP is meant for a child to be able to access the learning at the level that they need. It doesn't mean that they don't have to take Regents courses. We have special education students taking AP courses. It doesn't mean that they don't get to take those higher level courses. Because we talk a lot about 12-on-1s or self-contained. I just want to be very clear is it doesn't mean that every special education student needs to be in those classes. It's based on their need. But some IEP is just meant to, it's not to lessen their ability, it's to make it accessible based on their needs. So we have students that have sat for the AP course that are getting special education services, right? And they have multiple APs. So just to clarify, it's not all just self-contained or special classes. We have students passing and doing very well in AP, Regents exams, and other high-level courses as well. So I just want to kind of clarify that sometimes people get a misnomer on it. So just want to make sure we all understand that.
All ability levels.
Yep, all ability levels.
Yep. So moving forward, we have our special class, the new elementary class. That's coming up. We have a multi-age middle school math class for students to, obviously you'll be teaching all the skills in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but with a strong emphasis on skills and standards to be ready for Algebra 1A. For those students who need that, and we're going to continue to have Dr. Brock come in and work. And next year is a lot of time with our special education teachers on modifying instruction, going deeper with that. And then a little bit of the data here. So this is from our speech and language pathologist. We had a cohort, this is her 3rd year working with them. And yeah, I think this is kind of interesting, actually. Just want to see what. So she's got, I'll let you guys take a look at it, but I think it might actually be too confusing to show all of this. But she has her own data that she's been doing where she created a scale 1 through 5. And she started this in when they were in 6th grade and worked on the when she pushed into the social studies classes. And it was basically their independence levels from maximum support up to independent. Middle is mild support. So you have all, and then she would take the 4 or 5 students that were in that, I think there were 4, and average that. So for 7th grade, You have all year, eighth grade, you have almost all year right now. And sixth grade, I think, was just the second half of the year. But still, she's in there 4 times a month, 3 or 4 times a month. So you can see that it doesn't mean that they wouldn't have made that independence anyways, right? But I thought that was interesting that she shared, and she had actually, the next slide will show a student who had, therapy room speech in the middle school. And it's the only student who had only therapy room speech in sixth grade there that she had data on. And then you can see the next year, so that was 23, 24. Then the next year, how that student was rated in September, October, and then you have the rest of the year where they've added in the classroom support. So the student went from 9 times a month being pulled out to being pulled out 6 times and pushed in 3 times. And then this year, the student, it has been less for the therapy, 3 times pull out and 4 times in class. And just, I found it very interesting. I know it's just a snapshot, but I found it very interesting that the more time she pushed in and it was related to the actual context of the academics, the stronger the student got. So I thought that's just thing. This is that Blackbird Jumpstart program that I was telling you about. We've had a cohort, the 8th grade to 9th grade cohort, a couple summers ago. And you can see their overall averages of those 4 students who came to that. And you can see where they are 9th grade and then in 10th grade. So after 8th grade, they did the program in the summer of 6 days. And then just to give an end of the year overall average for the student, and then to date where we are, which is almost the end of the year. And you can see that everybody's overall averages moved up, right? Absences, I mean, that was one of the reasons why some of these kids were chosen. You can see in 8th grade, student A had 32 absences, went down to 23 absences, and now it's down to 6. I'm not saying it's only Blackbird Jumpstart, but that was a part of that connection we were hoping. We have another student that you can see went down to, student C, had 12 absences in 8th grade, went down to 8, and then went down to 3 so far this year. We're almost done. So I thought that was interesting. That's just our English language arts proficiency over time for this, specifically for their students who are identified as students with disabilities, and small increases, but takes time. Positive, right. Next one, here are just a
Oh, there you
snapshot
go.
of
That's
this
exactly what
year.
I was talking
Yeah.
about. Thank you.
For this year, we have,
Yeah.
we don't have anybody right now in advanced math, but we have a student in engineering, we have 3 students in APs. We had, those are college and the high school classes, 7 students who are students with disabilities receiving college credit, and somebody in advanced world language or higher level Spanish. So I thought that was interesting. And finally, some declassification information from the past few years. It's probably not a surprise that that was a low number because the first year there was coming off of COVID. But we had, we're growing, you can see that. So I thought that was positive.
And I think, again, not everybody understands the point of declassification as well. So speaking as a parent who has children who has IEPs, I will tell you the purpose of declassification is your goal is to hopefully have your kid declassified. Like, that's what you want. You want your child to be able to meet, have it, their needs met. And then over time, they learn the skills and coping mechanisms where they can be successful without the supports that are needed. Or those supports lessen as they get older, not increase as they get older, because by the time they leave school, they have services that they can in college, but they will be on their own. So the goal is hopefully, as a parent, I would always want my child to be declassified or to get minimal,
Yeah.
accommodations as they get older, because they need to learn self-sufficiency as they get ready, right, to meet their needs. So just me speaking as a parent, as an educator, I'm just kind of combining the two.
So,
Do you think some of the executive function stuff weighed in for that?
wade into the declassifications and specifically,
I think we really
No
started
basis.
heavier this year. Like, I think in the past 2 years, I think that's a really good point,
I
though.
do too.
I'd like to see how that
Because
works
we
in
have
those.
been spending a lot of time
You're right,
talking about
though.
executive.
That was always a big issue.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, screen time. So this one came up from a board member asking a question regarding how much screen time we have, and I said, great conversation to have at curriculum. And actually too, is just in the building, because we really haven't had these conversations, so I thought it was a great opportunity to start this conversation. So full transparency for the group and the recording, we put out the survey. Did not compile it until 1 o'clock today. Have not looked at it. Nor have we, and I just shared it today with building administrators, department chairs, department leaders, Karen, and really everybody, the people that are going to share with other people. So no real work has been done within the buildings, and really you are the first group to even have a conversation about it. Because it's, I mean, literally it's only been clear for now. So. And I have to change it to look at it. So I figure what we would do today on this is really just have a quick conversation, any wods and wonders that you're originally getting. I do believe that this should really go down to the buildings to have conversations about what they see, what their staff have said, and then, you know, what we should do from there. So, I mean, any questions on how, any of this or any other thought process on how you'd like to go through it?
You know how many, I'm sure not everyone responded. Do you know how many per each?
Yeah, so there were the
Oh, okay.
responses on it that said it, so for
Yes.
each building.
Yes, I do see that now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's do elementary first. And Kelly, since you're an elementary teacher, you may have a little bit more insight than the rest of us do. To put you on the spot at all.
I'll do my best.
Oh, goodness. Hold on. Oh. Sorry, I have two, it shows a different screen when I'm looking at it. I have something else here. So, to what extent do you believe your current balance between screen and non-screen instruction is appropriate for K-5 students? So we were talking screen time. Kelly brought up a really good point about Promethean board use and the training that was put into that. So I did add a question in there just so we can have kind of measure of it. But you know, this is really from there. So the majority of K-5 felt it was balanced. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Here we go. And how many, what was our responses?
28.
Thank you. We had 20 responses. And how many teachers do we have at the elementary school?
Well, classrooms, we have 20, not 20. 29 classrooms.
Yeah, so
29,
overall, I mean.
But
that
I know
might
I
also-
responded and I'm not classroom.
Right, so,
But that's neither here nor there.
but I'm gonna say this is probably over 60% response. Right, 70. So I thought this one was interesting real quick. Again, I really haven't looked at it much, so please feel free to.
Student engagement.
Student learning needs I thought was interesting. I think differentiation when I hear that. The lack of non-digital alternatives is very low.
That surprises me. Because some of the materials that teachers use, and I guess maybe because they're only depending on how you're viewing, I guess that's.
Like, yeah, it
student
depends on
devices.
what you're.
Teacher devices, like,
Right,
that's where it all is, but yeah, most of our stuff.
Mhm.
so this is.
Yeah, that was what
unstructured
I was
time.
wondering.
Yeah.
about.
Is how often is it used? And really, it's not very often. But I have paraphrased, this is paraphrasing from what they did. If you'd like to see every single teacher response for this question, because it was a writing question, it's, you go to the bottom, hit the Excel, and you can see every single one of them. But it was just too many to go through, so I put them all together. Well, Gemini helped me put them all together in a very kind of clear way.
Summary. kind of.
Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. So the question was, what does it provide? Benefits. IXL, Reflex Math, adaptive learning programs, speech to text. So really that differentiation to help students, I thought that was interesting. Accesses to resources, instructional programs, wonders and bridges, materials not available in print, library databases for research, and varied resources for extended learning.
Mhm.
A lot of engagement and motivation.
But is it engagement with each other? Is it
That's-
engagement with a screen?
That's the question.
Because that's,
So this is K-5, right?
yes,
So I think this is more engagement with screen. My concern is as personally, like when you get into high school, my wonder is, and I haven't had a good chance to look at this, my wonder is, what does this engagement look at for that 21st century skill cooperation, those skills of working together? And I've seen a lot of Socratic seminar going into classrooms, and I know they use a lot of that in English. So I know they're having those engagement strategies going on.
Mhm.
But I worry about that in some of the other classes that may be heavy, but I know
Yes.
math isn't heavy in
No,
Not
this at all, right? So social studies, kind of, but not really. So English, not as much. They do a lot of Socratic seminar in English classes. So especially the older ones, but anyways. Yeah, but I don't know the answer on engagement.
okay.
So that might be something if you want to write down a wonder, Karen. if
yeah,
you
that's
wouldn't
why I
mind
was
this,
just writing one
Yeah.
engagement.
Is what does that look like for student engagement in comparison to individual students? Is that what you meant, Robin?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the students are motivated by technology. Is that they are motivated to increase their skills, so they're gonna really work on this game together on the computer, or they are motivated to get on a screen,
Right.
is my question.
And that's a perception issue, right, too, because looking at this quickly, I saw some very interesting, very different comments, right? Some people said it was motivating, some people said it wasn't motivating.
Mhm.
It was actually demotivating and they were getting on games too often.
Mhm.
I saw that with the middle school.
I was gonna say, it probably depends.
Yeah.
You know, still new when you're little.
Yeah.
Very-
So here's the concern. Again, if you want to see all the concerns that the elementary school wrote, you have access to it, but it just was a lot.
Yeah.
So I paraphrase again. So excessive screen time. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it in school, like, because they didn't see excessive screen time in their pie charts. But I think also when you go home with the combined use, that's where I think people have a lot of issues. Because we have no control of the home, right? And if you look at impact on developmental and foundation skills. That's a really
It'd
good
be
point.
That one comes up a lot, even at the high school level.
Yep.
It's amazing the fine motor skills they do not have,
Right?
because they've just been
Mhm.
swiping, pushing buttons.
That's a really good point.
And I'd like to, I don't know how this could be broken down into time, but if every subject, K-12 is using technology quite a bit,
Mhm.
which it looks like they are. And I know we've had the Promethean board training and all that, but what would that equate to
In a
in
day.
a day? Like how many hours a day?
If you're
So
only
if you
doing
got-
15 and I'm only doing 20 and in my head, I was like, oh, it's only 20. It's only,
Right.
you know, like at what point is somebody's 7th grade day or 11th grade day or whatever it is?
Right.
You know, I'm not picking on those
Right,
grades.
no, because I mean, the reason, some of
It
the
adds up.
research on younger kids is that it's not great for their brain development.
But again, when
So-
we're talking about amount of time, are you thinking of the Promethean board being on during my instruction, or are you talking about students on a one-to-one device?
Students on one-to-one would be my thought.
Because
Me too.
because I actually think that there's very little one-to-one in some of those
Right.
earlier.
Yeah, so the elementary school, Kelly, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's no
K2,
one-to-one in
no.
K1, 2, correct? Like.
There isn't
No.
a station.
No, that
it's
they
station, right?
do.
But it's,
I mean, they are manned for it per se, because we do have to
Yeah.
give testing that
Yeah.
is everybody, so there are enough
Okay,
devices for
too.
the,
Yeah.
in first and second, all their stars on.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
that's true.
So, but are they spending a lot of,
instructional time in the classroom, I don't think they.
I don't
no,
think
but
they are
because especially in first grade, it's very hard to get them all on a device.
Right.
But is there, and it depends on the classroom.
Right.
Some do, but again, that reflex math, that
Yeah.
IXL, that very targeted, the wonders,
Adaptive learning.
adaptive learning, we have things that we're
Beneficial. for us.
beneficial and we've been put time and energy as a district, I say we as a district. So there is some use. I'm not sure about any use in kindergarten.
No,
Period.
I think Jeff said there was
I
some.
don't know that they
Yeah.
have it
No,
in their
just-
minds.
And I think the first grade, second grade is pretty limited.
I think again, there was a respondent to advocate for stopping the focus on making children happy, but then other people said this is a good differentiation tool. So I think that was where it was. I did pick up on 6th through 12th grade. It was more of teachers should have autonomy on how they choose to utilize instruction, and we shouldn't be demanding how they do it, but we should be trusting in their ability. And you'll see that was one of the comments that came out of it, because they understand that, yes, we understand there's got to be a balance, but we should be able to figure out that balance as well.
It's just hard when you, like you just brought up, you
Right,
only see one small
Yeah,
piece
I'm
of.
looking
Right.
at it like the cumulative.
Yeah,
It's not-
yeah.
Right, but if you have a staff member who says, I need to do X, Y, Z because this is
Yeah,
where it's gonna
I-
be,
I
they
get
might not be looking at the whole.
Right, they probably are,
cumulative
because they're
component.
looking at their.
Yeah,
their
you know what
class.
you know.
Right.
You can't help, you're not gonna know everything.
But this is elementary. We had, again, I think elementary is a little bit different in its perception because it really isn't. I don't think it's as widely used in the elementary as it is in grade 6 through 12, because grade 6, this is where they get trained,
Right.
right? So I think that's where that changes a
So all
little
those
bit more.
assignments are going through Google
Kelly, I'm
Classroom.
right, it's at
We-
grade
kids
5, it's in
don't-
the classroom.
Yeah, they're not taking them home, no.
Right,
And assignments, they generally are doing like in-school
Yeah.
projects
Yeah.
on them, but again, that one-to-one.
They do write on there.
They do, but those are, it's not an assignment that you have to take it home and finish it, it's, we're giving you time in school, but it's that adaptive learning piece
Forgive me
is where
for
I see
wonders.
you a lot.
Forgive me for asking this for wonders, but we have disposable books, right, for wonders?
Yes,
Right,
but the
but-
adaptive learning piece, and again, I'm not a classroom
Yeah.
teacher, but that is a part of
That's
it
an
that
online
there's.
piece.
That's online for the kids to get more differentiation.
Yes.
Built
Right,
to their levels, because that's what it's good for,
yes.
but the generic basic use
Then
is
you're in the book.
That's,
in a
You're in
but
a
then that's
physical
more the
book.
whole group
whole group, okay.
that comes with that.
So maybe not everybody understands it though, so I think that's good, like for anyone watching is, Wonders is not a full digital platform.
No.
It's a mixture of books and handwriting skills and right?
Yeah.
There's more into that, so.
Well, and
Cause I think there's some misconceptions in our community about the amount of screen time in elementary school, right,
Right.
Kathy? Is what
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
hearing.
the parent who
Yeah.
approached me was a parent of a kindergartner.
Right, oh
So,
my gosh, yeah.
But
And then
what
we're
a
saying-
child saying, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Oh, I go on it every day and I can. Okay, what does that actually look like?
Right.
Is very different than
Right.
what actually.
but then, I know you don't read the Voorheesville community page for good reason, but, there was several comments, I have no idea the grade levels, because I don't
Right.
recognize the name, but, concerned about screen time. So if it's a misperception. you
And I
probably
think it's a
some way
good
have to
concern.
find
We
a
should
way
be.
to
We should be.
correct.
And
aware of
honestly,
things like
I
that.
don't think this is just a localized thing.
Oh,
There's a
no.
lot of,
Yeah.
there's a lot of pressure coming up now nationally about screen time
Absolutely.
usage. So I thought this was a great opportunity for us as a district to start getting ahead of this, start looking into it before it becomes a mandate, because it will become a mandate, right? Let's be honest, it's gonna get legislative pressures at some point. So I thought it was a great opportunity to look.
Yeah.
But I do think, looking at these elementary ones, and I wanted to dig in it with the buildings, but I don't think it's overly used down there based off of what the teachers are self-reporting. The middle school, I don't really know. So do you guys want to go to middle school next? Are we okay with that? Again, I literally, the only time I looked at this is as I was putting it together, so. I had very limited understanding. And bear with me. Stop sharing, and now I'm going to present something else.
So. I'll wait.
No, go ahead, because you guys have it in front of
I
you.
think it's the second, third pie chart. On average, how much instructional time do students in your class spend actively working on personal devices? There are only 12 responses, so, but
But middle school is also smaller,
Right.
right? So you're
But
looking,
58.3% said 10 to 25 minutes.
If
So if
everybody
you're
did
doing that in
25
English,
minutes.
science, social studies, math, I don't know if you are, facts, whatever else they take, that's a lot of time.
Even if it was
And I'm
only
not
15
saying it's
minutes per
not
5
valid, but I just don't know if we're aware of the time. Like you said, if, I don't know what you're doing next door to me,
Yeah.
and I trust your professional judgment, but at the same time, it can be a lot of hours in a day.
most eye-opening thing I've ever done was shadow teachers or shadow students for the day. Because it gives you an understanding of what they do,
Okay.
right? So I understand what you're saying is, do we understand what the kids' experience is? So what grade do they primarily teach? So grade 6 had 4 respondents, grade 7, 5, grade 8, 3. That's the majority of
That's
your,
not correct.
those are your grade levels. So this is, I would say this is a very well-received part of it. So I think we're getting a good snapshot of the middle school. There's 5 teachers per grade level, right? 4, 5.
Well, and again, you have your shared,
Again, shared
your
staff.
staff that,
Well, that's 6,
You've
12
got
right there.
reading, you've got,
Right, I didn't collect data, so I don't know what teacher, but here's the responses of basic grade level, well, Spanish, special education, reading,
it's
speech
everything.
language, so. So Promethean board. And that's expected, I mean, we put money into it, there was demonstration, so yes,
Throughout most lessons, yeah. You got your agenda up, you got a learning target, you're telling.
it's your chalkboard.
It's your chalkboard,
Yeah.
so
That's what I was gonna say.
that's gonna.
So that's again, display technology. I don't know if we really want to get into display technology, but that's, again, I thought from Kelly's comment, I really kind of wanted to get an idea of what are you actually using it for. Interactive lessons, student collaboration, discussion. I think that's cool. So a lot you can do with that. I'm not missing a page in my camera. Missing a thing.
I think so. I don't have anything, you know.
All right. Yeah, please, if I skip something, because I'm just pushing
Yeah.
down button. Yeah, so this is the one you were talking.
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
10 to 25 minutes. Lessons are 42 minutes, right? Per grade level, per
Classes, yeah.
period, yeah.
So they really can't, in middle school, they really can't do more than 40 minutes.
Right, so it's a quarter to a half of the lesson. They're saying they're utilizing Chromebooks. Again, that doesn't mean, are they not having conversation? Are they not doing anything with it? It's just they're using Chromebooks.
well, and depending, because I know for at least one teacher, the question said, but that's my class, so I
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
have
that's
to
so
have
funny.
them.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, well, then that's how you,
Yeah, then that's your class.
that's
I
your
mean,
class, that's what
your-
they need to do.
Right, it is what it is. That's funny. I didn't even think about that. But if you teach computer.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah, well,
every day.
that's-
That's
Yeah,
what
it's
you're
gonna
on.
be in that larger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the study hall one, take out the 58.3% you stated it, and just imagine you make all the pie chart things a little bit bigger.
I know.
And that was one thing that I picked up quick was the use of this in unstructured times.
I looked at that too.
That
and
was the
thought,
one
that's
thing-
like a. Well,
But okay,
Yeah.
so from that, but are they working on assignments?
Well,
And we pushed
I
so
saw a
hard.
comment, I saw a comment in here that said something about
Yeah.
the lack of homework going
No.
down. You'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I saw a comment on there that made me like, ooh,
Yeah.
Nope.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I saw a comment on that.
So why they get to take them to study hall? Or
Yes,
like,
they're,
okay.
they're yours.
Yeah,
So
theirs all day, they take it home
Yeah.
at night, yeah.
And as much as we tried to reduce device with the phones, it's all the workarounds to access every.
They sure do.
Yeah, so I feel like somebody had a suggestion like not to have them out at lunch. or-
yeah, there was, but then I don't really see it. Like, I saw it, but I go to the lunches, I watch, I don't see kids on the really, like, using it during
I don't know
lunchtime.
who they're, to be
I do,
honest.
because I specifically look for it, because I was like, all right, I want to make sure. So I'm not seeing it the same way, but again, I'm going quick snippets, so. Complete on the following formats. So. I'm trying to get down here.
Paper, pencil.
Paper, pencil, handwritten, so it's still happening. People are still doing paper, pencil, and handwritten stuff.
Quarter to
26
half,
to
yeah.
50%, so. Collaborative group discussions, working on completed devices, that's a lot.
Is that the second
I
chart or
think
is that
that's
the
the second
third?
one.
I thought that was the third and the one
I don't
underneath
know.
that was the
I
second.
thought the student
I'd have
work
to
was-
pull
yeah.
which one.
Yeah,
it up.
student work completed on devices, I thought was the second. But maybe I'm wrong.
That's how I read it too.
Yeah. But they're still using handwritten stuff, which is good. Because there was a fear that no one was doing handwritten for a while. I remember hearing that. And then again, what is it commonly used for?
Skill practice reinforcement.
Huge, right, Kelly? That's what you said. It's
Well, it definitely in the elementary school. I
Yeah.
I don't know
High
the
school
middle
too?
school, but I don't know what the middle school.
Yeah,
They
and
use
writing,
those
and that
same
would make sense to
processes.
me, essay writing, that it would be used for that, you know?
IT related accommodations.
I think that, yeah, that's what you'd want to see, right? 42%.
I'm slightly surprised by that.
Why?
I thought there would be more digital content based off of the way that I've seen purchasing and things like that, that you would see more digital content in the classroom, especially, I don't know, I'd be interested to see high school, but I thought there'd be more digital content more so than,
I'd be interested in
Otherwise.
seeing it when you take out things like speech, when the
Yeah.
speech and reading teachers out of there. So you're looking at classroom teachers.
you don't have a lot of digital content. in
What bumps
world
up?
Language, right?
There are
Yeah.
entirely digital
Right, that's what,
platforms available. I use next to none.
and I think that's what our teachers, if I'm looking at this, I'm just assuming here. But yes, they might have digital resources, but they're choosing not to use.
Or they may
them.
not use them regularly.
Right.
So.
This was a study hall versus homework. Homework has become uncommon with most.
That was
study
the
hall.
that was the
That was a
comment.
comment.
That was a comment that I was, yeah.
Right.
I didn't think they would have enough time. There.
They don't. It's just how they're prioritizing
Yeah.
their time.
I will tell you, my child will tell me if they didn't have a study hall, we would have more homework at home.
Yeah.
Like my kids will say, I
That
do
definitely.
my in study hall.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of kids use those, and I think there's been a push on executive functioning skills in the middle school this year. I've seen kids really taking advantage of their time and utilizing it wisely. So
That's good.
again, anecdotal, but
Mhm.
you know, that push that they're doing in the middle school, that executive functioning, I think is working for kids to understand this is important time. Non-screen instructional, again, I can go as fast as you want. I'm just gonna go through.
That's interesting. Now it dropped. I wonder if it'll drop even more for the appropriate balance when we get to high school.
Right. 72%.
Because it was 93, I think, before.
But again, elementary school doesn't have the same amount of usage, right? So.
No.
And again, I think these are all things that the principals and team can really look at and dig into, like the individual stuff. The comments are good. Please rate overall benefits of device instruction. Unstructured class time, that's a big one,
Well, it
right?
seems to be. in
Yeah.
all.
And then we hear your concerns. Again, if you want to see the concerns that the teacher specifically wrote, everybody has access to them. It's easier if I just did it this way. Again, Gemini help.
I think the skimming text rather than reading deeply, I notice a lot, and I know so do other teachers. Because kids have gotten very good at, oh, well, the question has this word, I just need to find that word in the reading, boom, done. Rather than actually seeing what the rest of it says. The one digital, thing that I use in my class, I can't think of the word, one
Resource.
digital platform, yes, the
Platform.
resource that I use, it's for reading comprehension. And the students strongly dislike reading it, using that, because they can't just click through. It will make them actually go back and look at it again and try to figure out where they went wrong. And they would much rather click, click, click and get it wrong.
Yeah.
So when it has those boundaries.
Yes, so when it's forcing them to, okay, let's check back, it looks like you missed part of that story, let's go back and look at that part again. You don't really like that as much.
So that's a passive learning and quick solution.
Yes,
Because
that's
that's what I
exactly
was
what
reading.
that-
I go, ooh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So whoever made those points, I was like, oh,
Yes.
I really like those ideas. And I think the regulation component of it is, you know,
Yeah. Yes,
You know,
that's,
giving those very clear expectations. Maybe that's a grade level conversation, whereas
Mm.
as a grade level, right?
Yeah.
How do you want to address this? Right? As a department, how are we gonna address it? But I was saying grade level because going to Kathy said is, you know, you have a grade 8 student, what does it look like
Yeah.
from beginning to end?
Yeah.
Then your grade level team will say, here's what we want to do with our
Yeah.
grade, right? Like our use of screen times.
Yeah.
And giving them a tool to use. It's interesting. So, any other questions on this one? There's a lot on these. And there was a lot of concerns. Here's another one. Sorry. Screen used during the day. I don't know if I got to that one. I did, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we did.
Study hall versus homework.
Yeah, that was a
It's
big
down
one.
there. Can you show that again?
Did I?
Go down,
Yeah, balancing digital print materials.
Homework has become uncommon. With most students completing work during study hall time.
Again, I don't know if that's perception based or what. And again, you all have access to all the comments.
Mhm.
Then high school is the last one, so let's get on to that one. And Kathy, I do want to thank you because I found these to be really interesting. I think there's gonna be a lot of conversations
Well, yeah. I mean,
over the next year that come out of this with
I
the
was
buildings.
gardening, so you know where that conversation came
It's the beauty of being
Yes, I
accessible,
know.
right?
But it was like, oh, okay.
But this is gonna be one that's
And
gonna keep
it's
coming
something
and
that
coming.
keeps
and
coming
coming.
up. And people are aware of it too. You see that, people
Right.
saying, you know,
I was recently at a conversation with Niskus was there and SUNY Albany was there and a lot of people. And I said, we were doing this survey and they were like, oh, that's a really good idea because it is going to be on the forefront of conversation. So at least having staff have a conversation about it and talking about it and looking into it, it's not bad.
it's interesting.
17 responses for secondary, well, high school, sorry. What grade levels? Majority ninth grade. And mixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of science teachers.
That was nice teachers. That's good. Might skew the data a little bit.
Mm.
Because they're more hands-on. So Promethean board again,
Yeah,
as it should be,
yeah,
daily.
alien throughout.
And again,
Hmm.
I think that's just data that we can dig into for ourselves to make sure that
Modeling.
if there's anything we can help
94%.
support them on. So again, less than 10 minutes for 64% of the respondents. Study hall though. That's a big one, right? I mean, that's a lot of kids. Again, but high school kids,
There's a lot of, I mean, if they're doing homework.
Right.
Yeah,
if
they're doing the homework.
But if they're,
watching, yeah,
I don't know, if that's, I mean, if we're banning the cell phones,
right.
it seems like, well.
Why are we allowing them to do it on the bigger screen?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I don't know.
I will tell you, my high school student, I don't know about your high school students. 85% of the work that they do at home is all on a Chromebook, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I don't think my daughter really uses notebooks or it's all Chromebook work. Writing,
Even before we did the one-to-one.
she wasn't in high school.
I know, but I'm thinking my daughter.
Yeah,
Everything she did was on her Chrome.
Well, some assignments, and I can see pros and cons, they even have to take a picture of it
Yeah.
and then upload it
Yeah,
to
that's
Google
true,
Classroom,
yeah.
because then nothing's getting lost, nothing's
Yeah.
getting spilled on, nothing, there's no accidents of, no, you lost it, I turned it and I.
Yeah.
There's good and bad to all of these things.
color coded folders and notebooks.
Well, we still have those,
Yeah.
it can function like that, but
I'm
yes.
finding all those.
But here's a good
Real
one. If
science.
you look at paper or handwritten work, right? You're still having 20 to 50% or 76%. Like respondents are saying they're still having kids do handwritten work. again, I think people may assume that this would be much, much lower than it actually is. Again, this is stuff that we can dig into. Huh. Again, I think high school teachers, they find way different resources and different, you know, they don't subscribe to one specific book or curriculum.
Yeah, no.
You know, I've never seen a high school teacher, like, this is my curriculum.
Right.
It's tons of stuff.
Mhm.
Non-screen instruction, handwritten, partner work, that seems like a big one. Independent work. Project-based learning, not as much. But frequently for a lot of those,
Daily though, for the handwriting, right? I wonder what that whole thing said, handwritten assignments or something, maybe?
yeah, I would have to look.
Now we're down to 65%.
Yeah,
With a much too much.
yeah, that was a new
Yeah.
one, right?
Somebody was a much.
And I think they might be right from what their perspectives are. During
We're
instruction
reading-
classroom
we're
time,
reading
choice
books
brain
and-
breaks. Again,
Well, this is high when you combine
yeah,
the always, often, sometimes.
right, that's high,
Yeah.
right? That's the instruction time is what we really have to look at is what are we doing for those transition periods, those study halls? The downtime, I will tell you, that's the one thing I've heard is when I have downtime, my teacher lets me get on my Chromebook. Or when I have downtime, I get to do this. And like, there should be other ways to do that. Before you have a Chromebook, you know,
Mhm.
you should be able to throw a paper at your friend. Well, let's be honest, that has happened.
There's no good answer.
Well,
No.
they have to,
Easy
they have to
answer.
do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's
What is
defining what it's
available to
doing.
them. If their work is done,
Right,
and yes, it would be great to say, read a book.
and I think I wanna also like, not say when your work is done, it's like, if you have work done here,
Yeah.
but your teacher wants to work with another group of students.
Yeah.
Then saying you have downtime to do.
I
it
was just
again,
thinking of
improve.
study halls.
Right, oh yeah, but I was gonna say like downtime in a classroom though.
Sure.
A
Yeah.
teacher might not just give, they're not gonna give every single kid in their classroom downtime. They might
Yeah.
say, I'm gonna do group instruction with this kid,
Yeah.
this group of students.
And you
While I'm
only
doing
have
that, you guys
42
can do it.
minutes,
So
so
it's
what are
like-
you doing
exactly.
with those other kids?
High school though, look at the difference in what high school put in. That is not something that any other building put in. AI,
Mm-hmm,
right? That was one that came in a lot more,
mm-hmm.
you know. Finding ways to set them into district blocks. They're amazing at that.
Mhm.
AI usages, right? That's a big one. So we're doing all that work on what they can use AI for and can't with the tech group. Remember, Karen? So
Yeah,
that's gonna be a big issue. And then device reliance.
Yeah.
And then I only put these down because these are the only two extra comments they put.
Lightspeed measures.
Yes, sorry, I'll put it back in.
Multiple accounts
But-
open.
Yeah.
Well, what are they saying about the cell phones? So we have the policy,
In
but,
lockers,
but
not.
they can get away with putting it in their backpack and taking it
That's
around
what
with
they're
them. Is
saying,
that
yeah.
what they're
Or they
saying?
can prop it up against their Chromebook and still use it.
Or they're saying use the lock bags. It will be very honest with you, the lock bags do not work.
Those are expensive.
They are expensive.
Expensive to still have go around.
Yeah, so,
Mm.
but there you go.
30 bucks a
Was
kid, I
there,
think.
was there a pre-existing policy where backpacks had to be placed in?
Yes,
The
there
lockers.
was,
Yeah.
but the students and staff opted out of that one and wanted to change it.
Okay.
And I gotta be honest with you, I watch kids like, if you ever seen kids go down the hallway,
Don't get me
Yeah.
they're,
wrong, there's,
yeah,
both options have their
I think-
downsides, but
Well,
I'd much rather a backpack, I mean.
I think when I toured the district you're currently in, they actually had backpack holders in their classrooms.
A lot of teachers do.
Yeah.
And with
Cause I remember seeing that and that was,
Well-
cause I said, oh, you guys allow backpacks. And the kid said to me,
nobody uses lockers.
yes.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but-
I do to
yeah.
store things. So
But when your kids even said at your district when I toured it, because this was before we allowed backpacks, they're like, I can't do it. Like a kid was saying, to me, like, I love having the backpack because I have all my stuff with me. I go, oh, that makes, like, it makes you really rethink the thought process behind it. 'cause
So especially with the cell phone ban,
Yeah.
teachers have had to get a lot more strict about making students leave their backpack on the hook.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the Chromebook just becomes a big cell phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, there's nothing on the agenda that says we're using our Chromebooks today. There's no need for you to have it. You can put that back way over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
because a
makes
lot of them
sense.
also can't handle the temptation.
Yeah,
They can't just leave it closed.
Yeah.
A lot of them, when I tell them to close it, they want to close it almost all the way. It's like they can't handle closing it all of the way. Like it's still open, still open. And I know with high school, I'm sure it's more of a problem than it is at middle school, but students constantly have so many tabs open and they're emailing mom, they're doing homework for other classes. It's like their brain is on every
Mhm.
single one of those
That's-
tabs.
really important point.
And that's what, and to me, I feel like that's the struggle we see at the high school level is kids, the fragmented attention and memory from, like I
Teaching
said,
some, maybe teaching some of those skill sets of how to focus, how to, how to do those executive
Yeah,
functioning skills.
that's been a hot topic. Yep, executive functioning skills.
Are you doing that grades 9 through 12 too in
Yeah.
the district?
Yeah,
We haven't really focused so much, been more 6-8 focus this year. Maybe that's something to think about in the future.
Except those little small groups that the counselors.
That's
did.
true.
yeah,
Right.
But maybe it's something to carry
But
forward.
maybe-
yeah, but that was discussed.
Strength.
Should it be, whole 9 through 12, or
Right.
should we just focus maybe on ninth graders who are
Yeah.
kind of getting used to things, or ones that need more
Yeah.
support in general? Yeah, but a lot of the executive functioning is hurting.
Any wows, wonders, anything to take away and bring back to the buildings?
I wrote down a couple of those
Yeah.
that you guys brought up.
Okay, anything else for the last meeting? Anyone? All right,
It's almost summer.
all right, thank you. I'm gonna get started
Finish your
recording.
days.